All right. So, hi everybody. Sunil Shahal here on behalf of the WIA project. Today we have a wonderful guest with us, Zipporah Marmor, who's the VP of Aircraft Transactions for ACASS Canada. And we're just going to be having a little bit of a conversation with her about her career in the aviation industry, and we'll get started. So, hi Zipporah. I hope you're doing well and keeping safe during these interesting times.
We are, and thank you for having me on this interview.
Absolutely. So please go ahead to introduce yourself a little bit, your background, family, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Zipporah Marmor, currently working at ACASS, where I've been for the last 8.5 years. Born and raised in Montreal with an immigrant family to Montreal, which is very much the norm here. And I've traveled a lot and lived other places, but settled now back in Montreal.
Excellent. It's a wonderful place to be. I've did spend a few years there myself with Zipporah and working directly under you. So that was, and I think I know a little bit about the second question too, but so how long have you been in the aviation industry, and what kind of roles have you been involved with since you got started?
It's an interesting story. So I was born and raised here. I studied marketing at Concordia University in Montreal with no explicit plan to go into aviation. But Bombardier did an on-campus recruiting at my university at the time, and I threw in my resume and started my first job at Bombardier right after school. So 23 years old, entry-level marketing position. Frankly, I didn't know what business aviation was at the time. I had been on an airplane twice in my life, literally, at the point that I started working for a major aircraft manufacturer. And I just fell into this industry, and of course fell in love with it. Realized pretty early on that my real passion was sales. So transitioned over several years from marketing at Bombardier into sales with the same company. Then moved with Bombardier again to Farnborough in the UK to open their Farnborough office at what was then the new airport at that location. Then got recruited by one of the Bombardier representatives, and who was based in Monaco, and frankly couldn't pass the opportunity to live in Monaco. Spent 5 years there, and then decided to come home. Frankly, when I was pregnant with my son, and I think it's pertinent to this conversation because women in aviation or in any industry are always making choices and compromises between, family and career. But I think if they're handled right, I know if they're handled right, that you can succeed in both.
Absolutely. I can't pretend to know what that's like, but with a lot of female role models around me, I think I can appreciate that at least. So we know a little bit about where you came from and how you got started, and it seems as though once you get started in business aviation, you never really leave. So currently, your current role, current responsibilities, how has it been different to previous roles, or how you got started, or how has it evolved?
I've been very fortunate. So I spent about 8 years at Bombardier, which is obviously a very large company manufacturer. Then I went to a very small company, who was a Bombardier rep for certain countries in Europe. There was about 6 people in the company, and I was head of sales and marketing, and basically did everything. And it was a great learning ground because I went from a large organization where you have a more narrow role, but I was exposed to the world in that position. And then went to a very small organization. And now I'm at a really nice mid-sized organization. We have about 75 employees. We're extremely global with sales offices around the world and headquartered in Montreal. I think in the 75 employees, we count 17 languages represented. So it's an extremely global organization. We're very culturally aware. Most of our deals are done internationally between two different countries. So we get to experience a lot of the best of what the world has to offer. I've done different roles, as I said. I started in marketing. I then moved into sales support, which is a great way to learn the sales business. Then into direct sales, becoming a sales director for many years. Became a VP of sales, so managing the sales team. And now I've moved into VP of transactions. So basically taking a deal from initial interest, from initial offer through to closing, and managing all the many, many steps in that process.
Excellent. Sounds like it encompasses a lot of things, and I think I'm following a very similar path to yours from what I'm hearing.
I recommend it. I would do it again.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
So you have a family of your own. You have your kids. You have your son. Your energetic son.
Yeah.
And so, how have you managed to juggle it? It's not easy in an industry which requires a lot of travel, a lot of trade shows, a lot of moving around. How do you do it?
I think there's several key things. So I do have a son who's almost 9 years old now, and I've been a single mother to my son since his birth, which adds a certain level of complexity. I think the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child, is very true. And you need a village. One can't think that you can do it all your own. So I think it's very important to ask for help when you need it and accept help when it's being offered. I have two sisters who are here in Montreal, and they do help a lot when I travel, especially. My decision to leave Monaco and come back to Montreal was basically taken when I was pregnant, so that I would have a support system to raise my family, because doing it alone is just, I don't think it's fair to the child or to the mother. So I'm well surrounded here. And then you make decisions. I came back to Montreal is one thing, and it was the right thing to do for my family and for my life and for my career. And now I've moved into more of a transactional role where I'm not actively prospecting. So although I travel quite a bit, it's not a weekly travel. It's not, it's more of a monthly travel, of course, not in these coronavirus times. But, I've stepped back from the day-to-day travel. That said, I did it for the first 10 years of my career as much as humanly possible. And I was really able to experience, travel the world. And that was one of my objectives. And I did it when it was the time to do it. And I'm very grateful that I was able to do that.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's obviously, a big challenge that women in the industry or in any industry have to overcome. But, leading into that, what other challenges do you think this industry poses to women? And, if whatever challenges you think these are, what do you think the best way to overcome them would be? I mean, you don't have to go through all of them because there's quite a few, but there's one that sticks out to you.
I'm going to age myself here in saying that I have been working in this industry for a solid 20 years now. And it has changed a lot. I've seen a tremendous amount of change. When I started at Bombardier and I was in sales, on the sales team, we would have our annual sales meetings. All the sales directors from around the world and the sales support team, et cetera, would come, and we'd have a big meeting. And for several years, in a room full of about 80 people, I was literally the only woman in the room. So it was, and frankly, the first woman hired in a sales support role, never mind a sales director role, which at the time was pretty controversial. Now, of course, we see a lot more women in sales and in business aviation, women in maintenance roles, women in different positions. So I think that's great. I think what's really important is that you speak confidently and that you speak up. Sometimes we tend to be a little quieter, and I don't think that does a service in your career. You need to be confident and bold and work hard and get all the education that you can to be as knowledgeable as you can so that you speak with confidence. Frankly, you also need to have a thick skin because there are going to be incidents. There are going to be things where you're unfortunately not heard as much as you want to be heard. But, put the blinders on, focus on the end goal, and just make it your mission to be treated the way you want to be treated, because that's another one of my strong beliefs, is that we teach people how to treat us, and we do have some control over what we put out there, and therefore what comes back to us.
I would say, ACASS is a good example of a company that, exemplifies the number of women that can, occupy really high roles in a company in this industry, in a strong company in this industry. With you leading the way on that. So, on top of that, going to ACASS now as a company, apart from them not being scared to hire women for high roles and important positions, how else do you feel ACASS is different to any other company you've worked with previously?
I think I've spoken before about the diversity and the inclusion at ACASS, and I think that's really critical. I think it's also, it's just the right size for what we're doing. So we're about 75 people in Montreal and sales teams around the world. We really have an expert in every field in the office. So in addition to the aircraft sales and acquisitions that we do, we also manage aircraft. We also do flight crew staffing. So we have a full maintenance team. We have a full operations team. We do in-house marketing. We have in-house legal. I like to say there's no question in aviation that can't be answered within the four walls of our company, because we really do have experts in every field, which allows each one of us to shine in our respective fields. I think that's really one of the key advantages of working at a company like ours.
I would agree, and I kind of have an inside knowledge onto that one, but it's good that it's reciprocated by other people. So bring it away from.
I can add one more thing. I think, furthermore, we're finding a company of the right size. We're big enough to have all the knowledge and all the experience, but we're small enough to be very agile and very responsive. It's an entrepreneurial company with a can-do attitude. We love out-of-the-box projects. We don't want. We don't do anything cookie cutter. Each project is unique. Each client is unique, and it keeps it fresh. It keeps us interesting, and it's a fun place to work.
Yeah, absolutely, and it keeps us going, and it keeps us going in this industry for a long time.
And there you go.
So bringing it back a little bit to the WIA project itself. Just generally, your thoughts on the project, and obviously it's not an easy time for the industry and for aviation as a whole. But do you think this is the right time for WIA to be pursuing the getting its name out there now and trying to amplify the role of women in aviation to where we want it to be?
I think it's more important now than ever, based on my own personal experience and what I'm seeing out in the world. Business aviation is simply not on the radar of a lot of women, especially. And I think, it's our responsibility and our duty to get it on the radar, because it is a very rewarding and fulfilling career and industry. There's an old saying that says, the business cards may change, but the people don't change. So once you get into business aviation, you stay in it. There's nothing more exciting or interesting or educational than what we're doing. We're working with top professionals in their respective fields, whether it's clients who are most often captains of industries, running large companies, or entrepreneurs or whatnot, and their entourage, which again is the top lawyers, the top family offices, the top financiers. So we get to work with a very high level of people. We learn to be meticulous in what we do, because in our industry, each item is a big item. There's no small mistakes because of the nature of the product that we're dealing with. But that said, it's an extremely rewarding career. I've been able to travel the world from a very kind of humble beginning. I've traveled the world. I've learned how to deal with people from around the world, and how to manage different cultures and different styles of negotiating or doing business. I've been able to support my family and become financially secure, which is also, I think, it's important for everyone, but it's especially important for women to be empowered, and that comes to a certain extent with some financial control as well. And frankly, I've had a lot of fun. It's enjoyable, and we're in this for the long haul, so you better find something that you like to do.
I couldn't have said it better. That's why we're interviewing you, not me.
There you go.
And I think you had a lot of them just now in what you said in your answer, but anything specific in terms of what you would say to the younger generation and anyone else, not necessarily just younger, but anyone else keen to look into working in this industry or getting involved in the industry somehow?
I would say go for it. It's a wonderful industry. It's a lot of hard work, but very, very, very rewarding. You really get a passion for it, and it's I'm sure you'll agree with me. It's not just a job; it becomes your lifestyle and part of your life. And I think that's great. You need to find something you enjoy in order to excel at it, because I don't think you'll excel at anything that doesn't excite you. And this is certainly an exciting and fun industry to be in, and please give it some consideration.
Oh, very well said. Now, is there anything that someone else has said, perhaps, which you would like to share, which may inspire others, someone that you look up to, something that you've heard?
It's an interesting question. I'll go ahead. When I started working at ACASS, I had to decorate my office, and I was looking through different artwork and whatnot of what to decorate in my office. And I came across this one image and saying, and the saying goes, you can make yourself miserable or you can make yourself strong. The amount of work is the same. And I think I've kind of embodied that throughout my life and throughout my career. I think we have a decision to make on how we lead our lives, and what we're going to focus on, and how we're going to have it all, because I think that's what a lot of us want. And I think with the hard work and the right mindset, we can accomplish it all.
And I think that's the perfect way to cap this off. I don't think I could say anything else, but that's really appreciate your time here, Zipporah. I mean, we know each other quite well, and we appreciate you getting involved in the project, and looking forward to speaking with you further and having you on these more often.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm very glad to have been here.
Absolutely. And thank you for your time again.
All right. Take care.